What is going on, everyone? It is what day is today even? It is January 22nd, 2025. All I know is that the S&P 500, the cash did make new all-time highs today. We'll take a look at a bunch of ETFs that did and some single stocks. Today is single stock edition. Also, tomorrow morning I will be on All-Star Charts show at 9 a.m. So you can see a post about that tomorrow morning. Going to bring some charts similar to this. All right. But without further ado, let's get to the doc today and really look at what happened. Let's get to that. What's happening with my screen here? Rocco, what have you done, boy? Nothing at all. All right. So here we go. Full disclosure. My wife works for Netflix. They are a wonderful company, and today a company that is at all-time highs. So today a big part of the move in the Nasdaq. You probably saw it last night from the earnings. But here is really what the headline was today. So Netflix is up 9%. ARM Holdings up 16%. We're going to take a look at all these charts. Microsoft up 4% on that big Stargate announcement yesterday with Oracle, some monster moves in mega cap tech. So that pulled the Nasdaq up 1.2%. And you saw energy and some transportation stocks really fall. We'll take a look at Schlumberger and Southwest Airlines, both down about 4.5%. New all-time highs for XLK, your SPYG growth ETF, and a lot of similar growth funds. Obviously, we have Microsoft and Netflix running. Those are going to leap to the front. Also, all-time highs for the Momentum Strategy ETF, as well as Amazon, Taiwan Semiconductor, Netflix, aforementioned, Delta Air, Morgan Stanley, and Visa. All new all-time highs for these guys. Really a great rotation. And I'm not so sure we're going to get into the chart, but SMH, new 4-month highs. It finally did get above that 263, 265, very stubborn resistance. And the big NVIDIA move today and Taiwan Semi was a big help, and ARM as well. So it was a team effort. So without further ado, let's zoom out here before I get to the things that move today. Hello, greetings. So tune in tomorrow morning. That'll be fun. All-Star Charts. Just see what these guys think of this market, although the numbers speak for themselves, all-time highs. I know they're trend followers. So really quick single stock moves. NVIDIA up 4.5% basically. Netflix, we're going to take a look at that chart, up 10. Oracle up almost 7%, monster move. Amazon nearly 2. Palantir up 5. This thing's rocketed back all the way 76. We liked it here. Taiwan Semi up 2, and those are the movers. So really fast in the SPY. So in terms of the intraday action, here's the opening bar. We actually peaked at noon time, right around lunchtime here. We peaked at right around 6:08. And then actually there's quite a bit of selling at the 3:30 hour to close us below VWAP. VIX volatility also closed up today. So not what you typically exactly see, but we actually did close below VWAP. VWAP was 606.75, and we did close underneath that by about 80 cents. As I zoom out, so the things do look a little bit clear of technical analysis, kind of like weather tools. Okay, obviously we can't predict the weather, but you can see what's happening in the systems. And this is a technical analysis, pretty good system, and you have to moderate and adjust and calibrate accordingly. So right now stuff looks a little bit clearer. I would say like your visibility expectation, essentially, to about 610 to 615. If I had to get specific, I would think about around 613, I think is where the market's going to hit a road. I did think it was going to be right around here. I do think it'll stall. The Nasdaq move was easier to project. We'd seen that. We'd said 515 to about 530, and that's where it is today. 532 actually, or 531.5. So that was an easier move to see. I'm curious what happens here. Let me zoom out so it makes it look a little bit more easier. So there you go. Again, the all-time highs are at 609. We came very close today in the SPY. The S&P cash did it. We actually did trade 6100. So this, in terms of the ETF, which I always do here, and usually, actually doesn't want much of a tracking error. Typically, you're going to get all-time highs pretty soon in the index. So we'll see what kind of pull there is tomorrow. Of course, there's also companies reporting earnings, but short term, this does look poised to get to about the 610, 612 region. Again, not the best close, I would say, and you just see volatility tick higher, but this looks decent. Again, not trying to call the market for every tiptoe it's going to have. Leaning long, this is the overall picture that you should get from this, is that you should be very much long, and big important areas like semiconductors may have finished basing for the past 5 months and maybe getting ready to go. That's huge. So today, for all you stock addicts out there, let's go and see what moved today. So again, Netflix, monster move. I like the setup going into it. I thought they had been a little bit aggressively sold off going into it. It actually closed at the 21-day exponential moving average going into earnings. So I like that setup. 870 was what we're talking about, and this thing gapped very strongly. It didn't close at the highs of the day. This thing was trading actually over 1,000, but a very strong move. This is a tough one to to predict. Overall, the chart is great. Look at the 200 moving average, always overbought, except the Yang-Mageddon. This actually did get oversold, but still a rising 200 moving average, and it looks like it closed green. So, I mean, just a remarkable stock. What can you say? But all that being said, this could mean revert easily to about the 940, 950. I mean, it's already at 954 essentially right now. Yeah, I mean, and pullback. This is a volatile name. You got to be careful. This could easily pull back further to about 900. So this is more of a news breaking today in terms of this, but we'll look for a pullback potentially. But this one had a lot of momentum today. Speaking of even more monster momentum, ARM, my word, up 15% today, an absolute monster move. And these guys are not a small company. If you guys don't know, ARM is a pretty massive semiconductor company, $150 billion. So if you look at the chart here, these guys peaked. So like a lot of the space with the SMH peak back in July, this could be a huge mover. NVIDIA finally got above 140. You could see this, a huge contributor like this going to be the push that we need. And obviously an announcement like Stargate really helped. You never know what it's going to be that makes something like that go over the top. NVIDIA earnings, this, that, or the other. Doesn't really matter. You got to stay along the trend. And when you go, just give it to Saquon, first down, second down, third down, he's going to break it for 75 yards. So this is one of these semiconductors stepping up, and they're a tough out, I tell you. So this thing has gotten very close, very, very close, within $8 of its all-time high. I wouldn't chase it here. It looks like 155 to 160 is kind of fully valued, but this space, a lot of this has run up. Maybe would not be so shocked if you see it give way. I'm curious to see how the semiconductors trade, honestly, in the next several days to a week. My gut is, because a lot of them have run, my gut is telling me, in terms of the SMA, so let me just pull it up, because it's always helpful to go, macro top down and then others. So like I said, very, very important. Now we're basically back at the mid-July levels. I think the group will be in vogue. I think I like it still. My valuation, though, is right around the 265 to 270 level over the next 1 to 2 weeks before I think this gets tired and pulls back to about that 255 area. But thankfully, what I'm hoping for is, instead of this ping pong that we've been doing for 4, 5, 6 months, what I want now is this old resistance is now support, and now our worst is 260, and that's going to springboard the markets higher. That would be a huge, huge tailwind. Okay, and next, speaking of tailwind, Microsoft, monster move today, up 4%. Keep on saying monster move. But this one has not been trading so well. 52-week low, back on Yang-Mageddon, 200 moving average, like a stone here. Great song by a great band. But yeah, the 425 is your 200 moving average. It's really had a hard time doing much of anything since those lows in August. It's been a rough, 4 or 5 months. I can't believe I'm like almost a perma bull for Microsoft, and like I'm looking at the chart in front of me here. This one I have a little bit more. I like the announcement to about 450, so that's 1%. But I don't see it technically right here. I don't see it having the springboard to get to that 467 back from July. I don't see it happening. I could be wrong. Again, we're bullish market. A lot of these names looks like they ran up a bit. This looks like maybe 450, and these guys report tomorrow night. So don't love the setup unless they have a monster guide and things like that. I don't love the risk reward here. 450 to me, like $5 upside. I'm not going to play this on earnings, but it looks like $5 upside to me, and easily this can get pulled back down $20. So not looking for put spreads, but if you're looking for some kind of downside protection in NASDAQ that's run, this might not be a horrible place to look. The heck do I know? All right, down moves. Energy, we've been talking about it. It's going to be a frustrating place. Up, then down. Schlumberger down 5% today. This is a beautiful chart. Look at this, 52-week high back in March. This almost looks like a microcosm of nat gas. It gets to the 200-day. Dikembe couldn't even do it there. Couldn't do it there. And right there on earnings, it did it. And then what a big Dikembe move lower here. And actually only got overbought besides the move in March just this past week on earnings. not really, giving me warm fuzzies, and that chart looks extremely heavy. I think this had a nice move up. If you enjoyed some of it, great. But this looks like it's moving towards 38 to the $40 region, in the next 2 weeks or so. So pretty good meat on that bone still, but I don't think this has a massive comeback. And I don't think many may have caught the top here from 43, but I still think this heads down to about, like I said, $40 to $38. Another area, Southwest Airlines. I am long jets, which have been a star not only the past couple of weeks, but the past year. Teaser, I'll be talking about them tomorrow on the show. But with airlines, specifically Southwest, this name peaked December 5th at $36. A big move lower today, 4%. They have been, on fire, trading well. Southwest specifically, I think this is a pretty decent place to buy. I like the support in the stock at 31. If you could see where my cursor is, again, the 200 moving average is 29.5 or so. But right here, I'm looking at 31. That takes you back to about election day, actually. And I think rallies on this is a volatile name in a volatile space. I think this is bound to get to about $33 soon in the next 2 weeks or so. And if you get Animal Spirits, that, real big push and, FOMO in a really hot space like the airlines, this thing can head to 35. And we closed at 32 today. So potential 10% upside in this name. I'm happy to be in jets. This 200-day is also starting to get a little bit of slope finally just in the past month or so. So I like the airlines. I think you're getting a gift today. Could be day one, day two of a sell-off furthermore, but I think they'll hang in. And then Johnson & Johnson, just want to shout out my boy Gaston who called this. I think we collaborated and said short J&J, long Gilead, and it's a wonderful pairs trade. Johnson & Johnson, that is a multiple sigma mover down 2%. That is a big move. Gilead has been performing well, by the way. It's actually been an interesting move. Biotech's up and larger healthcare not doing so well. Pfizer took it on the chin today. Moderna was a lot, in the news yesterday. I think Larry also was talking about you're going to have mRNA vaccines developed by AI in like less than 2 hours, and I think we're going to live forever. Sounds like a lot of coffee. So January 10th was 52-week low for Johnson & Johnson. The name looks ugly. This group peaked back here in September. I don't love the area. I think this has more room to go. Johnson & Johnson. I don't remember if we had said Gaston a target for this, but this looks like it wants to go to about 140 or basically go in on a new 52-week low. I don't like the slope of that chart. I think this possibly, and again, they had earnings this morning, so we'll see. Not too good. It didn't close at the absolute lows. It traded as low as 142, and it did close right in the middle of its VWAP. So, buyers did step in, but overall, in the next 2-3 weeks, I don't like it. I think this is headed towards 140. I would stay in your short position, especially since the earnings risk is now subtracted. Okay, let's keep it up. We have a ticker, put it in there. We got a couple more here. All right, some of these really crazy cracked out stocks. Top 3 gainers of the past 5 days. I tried to keep these as not correlated as possible. It was really hard because it's just the computing stocks and the AI complex. So Rigetti Computing, I know a lot of folks trade this. It's a crazy name. Basically flat today, down 0.5%. It's up 54% in the past 5 days, or an average of roughly 11%. One of the things that's interesting about these crazy moving names, again, the market cap on this is $2 billion, but on 11 million revenue. So really lopsided. We were talking about it, I think, a month or two ago. It's similar to Soundhound, which is actually our next chart. But we talked about pullbacks, and it seems crazy at the time. But, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, and when you get it, you got to act then. So what happened here is we had a pullback to the 21-day exponential moving average, which is, if you can't see it on the chart, it's 1147. Okay, you got that pullback. I'm going to put it right here on my cursor. This is a crazy, crazy volatile name. And you got that pullback. It's actually been there for several sessions going back to about 2 weeks, and now starting to springboard again up 50%. Now, this sounds crazy. I can't believe we're saying this. If you have the risk appetite and you do believe the market is going to zoom higher, this looks like a good name to get in. A little bit annoying that wasn't up today. Be careful with volatility. This thing has a wild $2.50 average true range, so expect the thing to move massively every day, about like 20% in your face easily. That being said, this looks like it could head towards back towards $20 again. The thing's trading 14, so that's a $50 gain in stock alone. I'd probably be weird of options because if they even have it, I'm not even sure. So this is a totally, semiconductor computing play. It does look like buyers have stepped in here at this crazy $6 level. I think this one does start to head higher towards $17 or so. Absolutely wild. And I think I'll probably have it over the next 2 weeks or so. $17 is even a more conservative estimate. Again, more of these crazy names. Soundhound up 28% over the past 5 days. Today down 1. So again, that's what I'm saying. You can always interpret technical analysis, even in crazy names like this. Soundhound, I'm sure you're familiar with, a crazy mover. The market cap on this one is $5 billion on $67 million revenue. These guys do, AI solutions, yada yada. We are actually also calling for a big pullback in this for your opportunity. And this one looks stellar. Look at this chart. The support here right around 1270. It's meaningful. And again, that's even almost a double of the 200 moving average. So absolutely crazy. I still think this also, so in terms of target for this, I think this could head towards $21 and potentially, if you get animal spirits in the market, this could head towards $25 to $26 again. What held a lot of this space down, by the way, was Jensen Huang's comments. And we alluded to this last week. We said, I do think it'll take back the rally basically so here's the high, and here's the Jensen Huang comments. So basically the 50% Fibonacci on this would be right around here. I see that almost like not the easy part, but I see that getting there. Then I think that's where the rubber hits the road. I'm curious what happens if this stock, for example, gets to 19, and then what happens. But I think it's going to go forward. So again, if you have the appetite, this one has been especially strong with almost most closes above 50 RSI since beginning of October. So very strong name, Soundhound. We're not really clamoring for more crazy beta like this, but this looks again not bad. Again, you want to buy into strength. You don't want to buy this chasing it on the way down, red candle after red candle after red candle. You don't want to pay $12.75. You want to get in with a little wind to your back around $14 as you try and stare and get into the $18. So there's worse names that you can be in. So some names stretched, like those Microsoft arms. Some of those names looked a little. I wouldn't be shocked if give back. Some of these have more to go, I think. Okay, and then on the last one for the last 5 days, a big Sofi. So this isn't a crazy, straight up AI play. This is, pretty much a financial, up 21% in the past 5 days, or almost 4% a day. This is like a rocket ship. 1360 on the 13th, 9 days ago, all the way to $17 or $18 here. New 52-week highs. Wow. So going forward. I believe these guys have earnings also on Monday. This is an $18 billion, consumer finance company. Love the nice breakout it's having. It's had a rough time trying to break above 1720 essentially, ever since November, December, and now it's done it here, even though it did close down 1.7. Full valuation for this is right around 1760. Around this, I wouldn't chase it. I think you're going to get some sideways stuff, but I do think that $17 level will hold. And I know this has been a tough trade for many folks. You can see the turning moving average not really moving, not doing a ton. 52-week low on the Armageddon in August, and then October starting. Once that 200-day starts to just hold steady and it supports, it really started to have some lift, especially on that Halloween week earnings really helped at $10, and now look at that 60% almost in market cap later. Astounding. All right, top 3 losers the past 5 days. Some of these are continuing to fall. FTAI, this crazy stock, it was up 10% today, but this thing, my God, down 40% over the past 5 days, or an average of 8% per day. Again, you want to buy into strength, so this is interesting. This thing peaked on the 10th at 182, essentially. I'm rounding, sliced through the 200-day moving average. I was curious how long this was going to last. The bottom of this wick got to $75, and folks stepped in, and now we're at 92. So pretty crazy. It was a big move up today in terms of the charts, and you can't ignore the meaningfulness of a 200 moving average. The name still looks a little worrisome to me. I do think it's trying to mount a comeback and close on the highs today. Impressive, but I don't know. I still think this will be under 100. I don't want to chase it. I'd rather buy into the strength, to be honest, and almost wait for the story to get my first close above $116. It might happen tomorrow with how crazy this name is, and then you get back into that. I'd almost rather overpay to get that to almost have the story put together almost, because these oversold readings here are just not giving me a ton of confidence. We're going to see this having holding power. And to be honest, 116 is really just the first scene in the play, because I really wanted to get back here and hold 135 if I'm a long holder with trying to get towards 170, but one day at a time. So this looks ultimately very heavy at that 140 region. But first, I want to see how long and what it does as it moves towards 116. Don't like this name, though, for the next week or two. Curious what happens. It's going to bounce around, obviously. All right, next, DJT down 14%. The second biggest mover here in stocks, down 5% today. Obviously, a lot is going on with the coin and everything else, like how much he's profiting on it. If SEC steps in, but I don't think that's really a concern. So, yeah, I don't like, in terms of the chart, the 200-day moving average is also starting to clip lower now. Don't like it for the next 2 weeks or so. I don't think this moves really well going forward for the next 2 weeks or so. I think this actually moves towards $29, $30 potentially, rather. So that would be clip. There's a volatile name. So again, $30 right around here on the lower side. More so, probably see it going to around $33. But yeah, it's going to be frustrating. This 200 moving average likely holds, but it's not trading well. You're also seeing the first sub 45 RSI close since the first week of October, which was the week of its 52-week lows. So not, amazing strength quantitatively speaking through the indicators. And then lastly, usually don't cover lower dollar stocks, but Snap down 7%, kind of a big mover this week, down 1% today. Haven't looked in this in a long, long time. Let's see what's going on with Snap. Oh, over the days where I used to have Snapchat a long time ago. $18 billion market cap now. Yeah, don't like the chart. This looks like it wants to go lower towards about 10 even, 985, right around here. I think it wants to get back towards these October lows. This looks like it has a little bit more to go. Not a horrible move, but it's had an ugly week. This 200-day moving average has served as really significant resistance since these August earnings. These guys have really just not been able to find their own way. All right, so top 3 trades of the past 5 days. If you're long that Rigetti computing, congrats. Wow, up 55% in your pocket. If you were short FTAI, 40%. Nice job. These are some of the biggest movers in the market. If you're, cracked out and able to deal with this vol. And long Soundhound, congrats if you're in those names. Tomorrow morning, like I said, I'll be on All-Star Charts, and we will be back Friday for a end of week recap. Go Birds, go Rocco, go Stocks. Bye.